can make it there. I'll make it anywhere. It's up to you, New York, New York.
How we doing? How we doing? Good morning. It's the Richie Hicks Jr. Sports Podcast. It is Saturday. I am your host, Richie, riding solo. Gotta speak on this man right here, Mr. Aaron Judge. Also want to speak on his outfield mate, Mr. Cody Bellinger, playing his first game against his former club, the Chicago Cubs. A 3-home run evening for Cody Bellinger, as the Yankees, in addition to making me some money, win 11-0 over a very good Chicago Cubs team. Flexen coming into the game had an undefeated record on the year, but he did not stand a chance yesterday against this Yankees lineup. Just goes to show you how streaky baseball could be. This is a Yankee team that just one day before this was no hit into the 8th inning before exploding, and since has scored 16 runs since the 8th inning of the Seattle game 2 days ago. Unreal. Truly unreal. Cody Bellinger goes yard 3 times, predominantly to the same part of the ballpark, all 3 times. And were it not for a fabulous home run robbery, would have hit a 4th home run. His 3rd almost home run was the one that would have been 3. Ultimately, he got 3. Aaron Judge, just a human highlight reel. Shout out Dominique Wilkins. A human highlight reel on defense yesterday. Robin, Pete Crow Armstrong, just all over the field. Shoestring catches. Carlos Rodon pleaded with Aaron Boone to keep him in for an extra batter. Boone obliged. And Judge and Rodon rewarded him with getting out of that inning, keeping the clean frame. The most complete game the New York Yankees have played all year. And this has been a season of a lot of peaks and valleys. Truly, truly a season of a lot of peaks and valleys when you consider that this team most recently had a 6-game losing streak. Today at the stadium, they have an opportunity to turn it around and have a 6-game winning streak, as they are once again very hot, but not as hot as their counterparts, their rivals, the Boston Red Sox, who are on an 8-game winning streak, winning another close game against the Tampa Bay Rays. If the season ended today, the American League East would be sending 4 teams to the playoffs, with Boston, Tampa Bay, and the Yankees as the 3 wild cards, and Toronto as the division winner. With the exception of the Baltimore Orioles, everyone in the American League East is playing pretty good baseball right now. But I gotta say, visited some family yesterday, watching this game in my parents' living room. And I turned to my stepdad, Eddie, and I said, "My God, Eddie, I've been watching the Yankees for a little under 4 decades. And without question, this is the greatest New York Yankee player I have ever seen." That's saying something. I've seen Derek Jeter. I've seen Don Mattingly. I've seen Bernie Williams. Aaron Judge takes the cake. This dude is special. This dude is truly special. And, whether he was playing for my team or not, I think it's just a privilege for fans alike, no matter who you support, to have a generational talent like this. I think we tend to take players for granted. I think, like, you take a guy like a Cal Ripken going back when he had that amazing streak of no games missed. I think as fans, we take certain talents for granted. I mean, love him or hate him, Barry Bonds, his awesome power when he was playing with the San Francisco Giants. A guy like Roger Clemens, another guy who's, a lot of controversy surrounds him. But looking at the multiple Cy Youngs that he won, just truly incredible. Yankees will look to extend their streak to 6. Red Sox looking to extend their streak to 9. New York Mets jumping back into the win column after a modest losing streak as they got right in their first game against the Kansas City Royals. A small measure of revenge against a team who beat them in their most recent World Series appearance. That's baseball. The Cubs are a damn good team. I want to make that clear. The Yankees just were locked in yesterday. Truly locked in. I know going back to the Seattle game, there was some speculation in the latter innings that the Mariners were indeed tipping pitches and the Yankees took full advantage. But it just goes to show you, like I said at the top of this show, baseball is so ever so streaky. A couple of weeks ago, the Yankees couldn't buy a hit. Something that'll get buried and overlooked. Carlos Rodon was really, really locked in yesterday. And when you consider that this is a staff that lost Garrett Cole and Clark Schmidt both to Tommy John surgery this year, a staff that is yet to see Luis Gil, the American League Rookie of the Year last year, throw an inning. Marcus Stroman has been up and down. They just brought up a young man from AAA. This Yankee team has been resilient. And seeing the reemergence of Devin Williams definitely encouraging because I must say, after the Pete Alonso home run in last year's playoffs, Williams' final go around with the Milwaukee Brewers, it seemed like the residual effect of how his season ended last year really messed with him for a little while. And I remember alluding to the first part of the Subway Series back in the Bronx and seeing him fare decently against Alonso and how I feel that that was part of him healing, so to speak, because, when you come out of the pen, particularly, it's a very mental game. We've seen some of the greatest relievers in history lose their way over the course of time. Even the great Mariano Rivera occasionally had mini slumps. No closer is immune to it. But definitely excited to see what the trade deadline brings and who the Yankees are going to bring in. I would have to think with the team feeling comfortable with moving on from super utility man DJ LeMahieu, they will be in the market for a third baseman. And I would not be the least bit surprised if the Yankees get some pen help, possibly another starter. There could be a potential sale for some talented players in Arizona. Will it be Merrill Kelly? Can Eugenio Suarez potentially come over? They have multiple starting pitchers in Arizona that could potentially be changing addresses as the Diamondbacks, who I think their season goals just really got washed away with the unfortunate injuries to Jordan Montgomery and Corbin Burns. So, good day to be a Yankee fan. 2 games left before the break. And ideally, you want to see the Yankees tied for first going into the break, but most importantly, playing good baseball going into the second half of the year. Just a really awesome game yesterday. It's truly amazing how the course of 24 hours could change something for a club. But like I said, when you look at what Brian Wu did, a shout out to him, man. What a class act. The night before, giving up his first hit of the game, late in the game, Jazz Chisholm uh, kind of congratulated by Wu for breaking up the no-hitter. That is a true professional and a guy that I think any team would love to have in their locker room. Going to move it over to the sweet science. Katie Taylor, Amanda Serrano, part three. A good decision, in my opinion. I was rooting for Serrano. However, I believe that both fighters really honed it back from the brawls that we saw in the first two matches. I think both of these women were more strategic on this third go around. And unlike the previous two fights, which Taylor did win, I think this time they actually got it right with Taylor winning. I watched all three fights. I personally think that Serrano should have won two of three, but I don't grade future fights based on emotional or whatever I saw in the previous. These women stole the show in the Tyson versus Paul match, saved the show because that was a joke. But nothing but admiration for both of these women. When I think about box office for the woman's sport of boxing, I think about someone like Christy Martin. I think about someone like Layla Ali. These two women bring that, and both of them should be incredibly proud of themselves. Great deal of sportsmanship, great deal of humility shown by these two women. Although Taylor has defeated Serrano three times, she was very clear that she felt it was an honor to share the ring with her. So a great deal of respect for both these women. And I think these women are really bringing women's boxing back to the forefront, places that Layla Ali and Christy Martin took it yesteryear. And they both should be very proud of themselves. I know the people on the island of Puerto Rico are incredibly, incredibly proud of Amanda Serrano. And I know in Taylor's home of Ireland, they are obviously very proud as well. But the CompuBox numbers, like the punching numbers, way down compared to what we saw in previous fights. And I think it was a lesson because I know from Serrano's camp, she said that she had to alter her style to have a better chance to win on points. Now, if Serrano opened it up like she did in the first two fights, could she have won? Yeah, maybe. But when the judges didn't have your back the first two times, I can understand it to a level. And, part of that sport is also self preservation. But shouts out to both those women. Hell of a job. Much respect. And, I'm looking forward to the big Canelo clash in the near future. And I would be thrilled if they brought some of what we saw last night on the Netflix tip. Spoke to my man Mike Zappi yesterday. He was traveling to Dallas, um, and he was gonna ask me to share some hot takes, and we were kind of going off the bit, back and forth about our personal hot takes. So I'm gonna throw one right now from Zappi. He's predicting the Dallas Cowboys start the season 8-1, and after kind of diagnosing and looking at the Cowboys' schedule, I actually don't think that that's that far out. Maybe 7-2, maybe 6-3, but I don't think 8-1 is far out when I look at how their schedule is lumped a lot easier versus way tougher down the stretch. Another hot take of Mike Zappi's last night when I spoke to him is that he believes Jackson Dart will be the New York Giants starting quarterback right around week 8. Um, Possibly. But I actually have higher expectations for Russell Wilson in this particular offense, although a lot of the contingent would like to see Jameis Winston get the first crack. However, this plays out, I believe this is Russell Wilson's one and only year with the New York football Giants. And I also believe that it is the final year of his storied future Hall of Fame NFL career. Um, of course, you want Wilson to stay in if you're concentrating on winning this year, because that means the Giants are doing well. But when you look at the terrible quarterback play that the New York Giants have had over the course of the last few years, I'm just happy that we have three competent quarterbacks in the building, and you have two well-respected veterans that are going to teach young Jackson Dart the ropes. And not to mention that you also have a former Ole Miss alum, two-time Super Bowl MVP, Mr. Eli Manning, that's going to be there for Jackson as well. So you have three great minds: Jameis Winston, Eli Manning, Russell Wilson, that can be within earshot for Mr. Dart. And not to mention, people are going to forget Tommy DeVito's still with the Giants for now. and a true professional in his own right. You don't get to stick around that long if you don't do your job and really bust your ass. So respect to Tommy DeVito, one of the same. Yeah, I agree. That is the only way she was going to get that W. And yeah, I was talking to Zappy yesterday. We considered going live, but we just kind of had a good talk and cooking up some ideas for a future show. So definitely looking forward to the divisional previews. They are just around the corner. I've got an NFL hot take of my own. I believe the New York Football Giants will lead the NFL in sacks this year. Does that produce does that produce a playoff berth or an overachievement this year? Not necessarily, because we're not quite sure what the identity of this offense is going to be. And that's a big question mark around the Giants this year. The dynamic trio of Kayvon Thibodeau, Brian Burns, and Abdul Carter is going to be must-see TV. And of course, we have perennial All-Pro nose tackle Dexter Lawrence. I'm expecting a bounce-back year from Bobby Okereke. And I'm excited with the two additions, Javon Holland as well as Paulson Adebo in that secondary. I love the Scatabo pickup. I think he and Tracy could mirror what Bradshaw and Jacobs were during the Giants' most recent glory years. It's going to be fun. Other hot takes, maybe not so popular. My beloved late fathers, Green Bay Packers, are going to finish last in the North to a record of 7-10, 8-9. I think the Green Bay Packers are taking a step back this year, and I think they're swapping spots with the Chicago Bears. Zappy did agree with me on this hot take. Hot take for Zappy, and I do not share his sentiments on this one. He believes the Minnesota Vikings will be in the NFC title game this year. I am not going to give my total, complete outlook for that. I will say this. I think the Los Angeles Rams will be one of the two teams in the NFC title game. The AFC is a little tougher to diagnose with the competition level and the parity in the AFC. Couple more hot takes, not pertaining to this particular year. Henry Ruggs will play in the NFL again. However we feel about that, I do believe that will come to fruition. Other hot takes. I knock on wood because I don't wish injury on anyone, but I think it's going to be hard for Saquon Barkley to stay completely healthy given the workload that the Eagles put him on last. Now, granted, they have a great offensive line. Um, you know, I knock on wood and I hope that the Madden curse avoids Saquon. Regardless of team affiliation, he's a guy I rooted for, a class guy off the field, and I want the best for all these guys. I don't like seeing anyone get hurt, but the Madden covers always seems to be a risky thing for NFL players. Hot takes. What else? What else we got for hot takes? I believe the New England Patriots are going to finish second in the AFC East this year. I think Mike Vrabel is going to get these guys on track. I really mean that. Hot takes. What other hot takes we have? Big year for Calvin Ridley. I think he's going to serve as a solid number one for rookie Cam Ward. And that's all I got at the moment. Not going to tell you everything I'm thinking, as we got that for the divisional shows. See if I can muster up one more. Aaron Rodgers will make the Pittsburgh Steelers happy that they took the chance on him. I'm going to say that now. I think Aaron Rodgers still has something to prove. I think he has a chip on his shoulder. And I think it's going to be really cool that they open up the season against the New York Jets. That, truthfully, is going to be a heck of a showdown. Steelers and Jets week 1. Under normal circumstances, wouldn't exactly be something that people are tuning in for. But I think Aaron Rodgers, whether he played a hand in former Jet head coach Robert Saleh getting fired, I think the bottom line with regard to this is that he wants to prove that he still has something left. And when I look at his stat line last year, he does have something left. Former teammate Devontae Adams, in my opinion, will be the best number 2 receiver in the NFL this coming season. If there's somebody to compare him to, I would say within that breath, it's T. Higgins and it's Jordan Addison, as they are opposite of two of the absolute best in their situations. In Cincinnati, of course, Jamar Chase. In Minnesota, of course, Justin Jefferson and George Pickens of the Dallas Cowboys, formerly the Steelers, opposite of CeeDee Lamb, could have a hell of a year. I'm also predicting a step back for the Washington Commanders, as their schedule is going to be much tougher. And only the Rams do I see in the title game right now for the NFC. I am not quite sure who's joining them there. I think the San Francisco 49ers and the Arizona Cardinals and the Dallas Cowboys, those three particular teams, are going to be fighting for the final wild card positions in the NFC this year. Um, what else we got? Darren Waller. Let's talk about him for a second. I think Darren Waller is going to eat well in the Miami offense, taking the balls away from where what Jonnu Smith would have been catching. But I don't have a good forecast for the Dolphins. I'm predicting the Dolphins finish dead last in the AFC East. I got the Jets third, the Patriots second, and the Bills contending for a Super Bowl. Football season most definitely on the horizon. I am excited for it. I'm looking forward to see how Shador Sanders translates to the pro game after his very controversial draft stock plummet. Looking forward to see what number one pick Cam Ward brings to the table. Looking forward to the dual threat Travis Hunter in Jacksonville. Of course, looking forward to Abdul Carter wreaking havoc on quarterbacks as he joins the New York Football Giants. Just a lot of interesting storylines this year. I'm looking forward to see how Aaron Glenn handles taking the head coaching position for his former team when he played, of course, the New York Jets. A lot of storylines, man. A lot of storylines going into the new year. Can the Detroit Lions get over the hump after that horrific meltdown against the Washington Commanders last year, where they just got punched in the mouth? Can the Baltimore Ravens emotionally recover from the heartbreaking loss in Buffalo? Can Buffalo, can Baltimore, can anyone beat the Chiefs in the AFC? That is worth asking. Can the Eagles go back to back? Not only in the NFC East, which hasn't happened in over 2 decades, but can they go back to back in terms of winning another Super Bowl? That is not an easy task either. Anyone who knows me knows that I do not have any love for the Philadelphia Eagles. However, much respect for wide receiver coach Mr. Aaron Moorhead, who graced us with his presence, really giving us some great insight. And I'll tell you, Aaron has a pretty cool gig, in my opinion, coaching a top five, possibly 3 to 5, anywhere in that neighborhood of receiving duos. Of course, Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown. Get at me in the comments, guys, when you see this, if you're not with me right now live. Got a few things I got to get done today. But enjoy your Saturday, everyone. I hope it's a peaceful Saturday. Shouts out to my family. Really had an excellent time, although it was limited. Seeing my sister Nicole. Safe travels home to Jersey today. Uh, just really cool hanging with my family. You know, it's things we take for granted from time to time. But family is everything, guys, and please keep that at the forefront of your minds. I am Richie. It's the Richie Hicks Jr. Sports Podcast. If you haven't already, please make it a point, like and subscribe to the channel, the Richie Hicks Jr. Sports Podcast on YouTube. Check out the V Mix, the Vicious Mix on live365.com, where you can check out our guy, Idris Salam, and you could also see him on the Casual Convo Show every Wednesday from 8 to 10 on Hand Radio. Him and the beautiful Miss Coco, along with Mr. Paul, and a conglomerate of just really cool people hitting on every subject. Check out the Basement Show with our guy, Mr. Johnny Nast. Also, check out the Bleed Blue Show. Until next time, I am Richie. Take care, everyone. And announcements to come for our next show.